Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deszren. Most people call me Des. Feel free to call me whichever. If you're new to my channel, welcome. It's been a while since I've uploaded. I think at this point it's been a little over a month. If not, it's been about a month. I started cosmetology school, which I'm super excited about, but that means my availability is like slim to none, and it was already slim to none before. I'm gonna do my best to make content when I can. I feel like I've tried to have it on a set schedule and it just never works out, so you're gonna see me when you see me basically. But I wanted to make this video because, as many of you guys already know, I do work on people with locks, so I wanted to share some things that I've noticed in my 2.5, 3 years of doing hair now. Just like some unrealistic expectations that I've noticed with my clients, with people in general that have locks, people that are starting out with locks. So I just wanted to clear some things up so there's no confusion whether you're in the beginning of your journey or whether you're months or maybe even years in your journey as well. I'm gonna get started. I have about 6 or 7 bullet points here. These are just things that came to mind when I thought, what are some people's unrealistic expectations when it comes to locks? First thing I want to talk about, because it's probably the most asked thing that I've gotten, or one of the most asked questions regarding locks that I get from my clients specifically, is, are my locks going to be thicker? Are my roots going to be thicker if I prolong my retwist? Is prolonging a retwist even good? Is that a good idea? Let's talk about it, because woo! The amount of people that really think that if you go 6 months without a retwist, your roots are just, your hair itself is just going to magically get thicker. It's insane to me. And this is like, I'm not judging anyone because some people just truly don't know. But whatever thickness that you were born with is what you're going to live with for the rest of your life. I don't know what to tell y'all. It really doesn't get any more simple than that. Prolonging your retwist can actually do more damage than good to your hair, especially if you have fine, low density hair. Going long periods of time without a retwist is not going to be good. The point of a retwist is to train your hair to stay in the lock formation, so it eventually locks up. So you can only imagine what's going to happen to your locks if you go 4, 5, 6+ months without a retwist. You're laying down every night, your locks are going to get flat, and then eventually they're going to lock that way. Now, for most people, that's not the aesthetic that they're going for. They don't want flat locks. They want those nice cylinder-shaped locks. And that's just not going to happen if you go long periods of time without a retwist. And also, your hair can thin out eventually, because imagine this is your lock. My forearm is your lock. Now, half all the way down here is locked up. Up here is not. After a prolonged amount of time, the locked part that's down here is literally going to weigh and tug on this top part, and that's what's going to cause your roots to actually thin out and not become thicker. Some people come to me and they're like, I didn't get a retwist for 6 months. I thought my hair was gonna get thicker. I thought my locks were gonna be thicker, and my hair is actually thinner. It's flat, like it's not doing anything. That's why you're not training your hair like you're supposed to by getting a retwist every 4 to 6 weeks. Some people can go 2, maybe even 3 months without a retwist, but those are usually people that have very dense, thick hair, where it's going to take a lot of wear and tear on their hair to actually notice any kind of changes. It's still not something that I would recommend, but of course, the longer that you've had your locks, the longer you can go without a retwist. But still, if you're not going for that freeform or semi-freeform look and you want cultivated locks, get a retwist every 4 to 6 weeks. The next thing that I want to talk about, which I'm low-key guilty of as well, are people wanting their locks to all be the same size. It's just not gonna happen. It's not. You have different densities throughout your hair, you have different textures, and that plays a huge part in the shape and how big your locks are. And also too, you have to think about around your nape and around your edges, it might not be as dense as the rest of your hair, and those are also going to yield skinnier locks. It's just the math that comes with locks. A lot of people have these expectations where they want every single lock to be symmetrical, to be perfect, to be the same, and it's just not a thing. I think that's the beautiful thing about locks and everyone that has locks. They're so different and unique, and not everyone's locks look the exact same, and that's just the beauty of it, and it's just something that needs to be accepted if that's the hairstyle that you're going to have. Along with people wanting locks to be the same size all throughout their head, I've also had more than a handful of clients ask me, when are my locks not going to look so lumpy and bumpy anymore? And these are people that are already like a year, 2, maybe even 3 years in. And I'm like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but this is how your locks are staying. Like, if your hair is fully locked and they have those kinks and those bumps and those lumps, baby, those are really not gonna go anywhere unless you manipulate it yourself, and even then that might be difficult to do depending on how locked your hair really is. And it's not even something that I would recommend, because if your hair is not thinning, or if they're like, you know, not falling apart, then why tweak it? I understand a lot of people want to have locks for more like the aesthetic purpose, but that is the aesthetic of them not being perfect. So, like I said before, it's just something that needs to be accepted. If your locks are lumpy and bumpy to the point where you're having like super thin, skinny spots and then thick parts, then yeah, that can be a problem in the future, because those heavier parts can weigh down on your hair, especially if you're doing styles and putting stress on certain parts. That will just create weak locks, but that is a total difference, and I think you guys would know if it's damaged or if it's just how your locks are going to be, because like I said, they will look very thin and they might even look or feel weak to the touch as well. The next thing I want to talk about are goddess locks. And if you don't know what goddess locks are, they are locks where you comb out the ends of your hair so your ends stay curly. I will include some pictures of some people that have goddess locks. I think all different kinds of locks. Is this? I really hope that wasn't out of focus the whole time. I guess we'll find out later, but regardless, y'all can hear me. Yes, goddess locks. Locks with curly ends. Now, when you see people on Instagram, maybe even out in public, and they have these long locks with the curly ends, yeah, it looks pretty. It is nice. Is everyone going to have that exact look with that S curl at the bottom? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I've had multiple people ask me about combing their ends out or wanting the goddess lock look and how to maintain it, how to get that specific look, and they simply don't have that curl type or curl texture that are in these pictures they are showing me. There's a lot of people that want that look and don't have the texture for it, which is perfectly okay. There are some people that are fully aware that they don't have that exact texture and they still want their curly ends, which is perfectly fine too. Do whatever you want to do. But the people that may have a really coily, kinky texture and they want that S curl at the bottom of their locks, it's just not going to happen unless you chemically alter your hair. And at that point, what is the point of really in having locks? So, if you're going for that goddess lock look, just be aware of your hair texture and how exactly it's going to come out. I'm just saying, you might be disappointed when you try to do this specific style and it's not looking like the girls on Instagram, it's not looking like how you envisioned in your head. Just be realistic with your hair type and your hair texture and what your hair is capable of doing. I only have a few more things I want to talk about, but this next one is very important, and I hear this way too often from my clients, and it is not needing a detox or wanting a detox or feeling like they don't need a detox because their hair doesn't stink. And I'm like, that's not the only deciding factor to needing a detox whatsoever. And most of the time, these are people that have had their locks for like 3+ years and never ever got a detox. If you've been following me for a while, if you've been watching my videos, I've said it more than once. I recommend getting a detox 1 to 2 times a year, just for proper maintenance. That also depends heavily on your lifestyle, what kind of products you're using in your hair, because you might get more buildup than others. You might get dirt or sweat built up in your hair. You might be a smoker. You might have residue stuck in your hair. There's just so many different things that go into why you may need to detox your hair. Just because you feel like your hair smells like rainbows and cupcakes does not mean shit. I'm just being honest with y'all, because you can still have buildup in your hair, especially if you smoke weed or cigarettes. I don't care what anyone says, that residue will get stuck in your hair. And if you're hotboxing, you be partying, going to clubs, detox your hair, please. Please. I'm not telling y'all to do it once a month. I would never say that, because yes, that will dry out your hair. But detox at least once a year for me, please. And how do you know your hair doesn't stink? Ask somebody. Smell your pillowcase. Smell your bonnet. Smell your scarf. Smell your lock sock. Have someone else smell it, because sometimes we're nose blind, and that's okay. It happens. But in all seriousness, detoxing is super important, because apple cider vinegar also helps balance the pH of your hair. It clarifies the crap out of your locks. Like, you can really loosen up any dirt, and especially product buildup that is stuck up in there. And when I tell you your hair will feel 10 times lighter after you're done, it will feel 10 times lighter. And also, if you're trying to get color out of your hair as well, a detox will definitely help strip some of that color away. Really quick, if you are going to detox your hair, it will dry out your hair. It is perfectly okay to use some diluted conditioner afterwards. That is what I like to do, because you need to bring back that moisture, and sometimes a moisturizing shampoo is just simply not enough. But we can talk about that a little bit more on a different day. I'm gonna get into this next point now, which is styling at every retwist appointment. I cannot tell y'all what to do. I can only give you guys advice. If you're the type of person that is styling every single appointment, and you're noticing that the thickness in your hair has changed significantly, the shape of your locks has changed, it's because you're styling every single retwist. And I've also noticed too that my clients that like to get 2-strand twists a lot, their ends might come loose. Their ends might have like that little ball of hair at the end. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you have locks, you probably know what I'm talking about. And that's because you're styling every single time. It's perfectly okay to give your hair a break, to just let it breathe. Like I said earlier, a retwist is really just meant to train the hair. Your retwist, it's okay if your retwist doesn't last an entire month or even 3 weeks. It may only last a couple of weeks for some people, and that is perfectly okay. I know some of you guys are like, I spend way too much money on my hair for my retwist to only last a couple of weeks. I need to style it because I don't got time for my hair to be looking like who gone done it and why. And I've heard it all, and I totally get it. But it is also extremely important to accept your locks as is. It's extremely important, because at the end of the day, we want healthy locks. And you want to be happy with your locks, and you don't want to say later down the road, I wish I didn't style so much because now my locks are not in the correct shape, or now my locks are weak in some spots, or now I have to cut my locks or start over because I wasn't maintaining them properly. And a part of that maintenance of having locks is simply just not styling every single retwist. The last thing I want to discuss, and this is mainly for my people that are in that starter baby lock phase, is that they think they're going to be able to do all kinds of styles at every single point of their journey. And I have some clients who come in, maybe their first couple of months, they're able to style their hair in any which way that they want, which is great. The elasticity is there. We can stretch their hair. And then boom, 4 months later they come in and I can't even do barrel twists on their hair anymore, or I can't even pull their hair into a ponytail anymore. And that's because their hair has shrunken up so much, it has lost its elasticity. And some people would look at that as a bad thing, but with Locs, that is a great thing. That means your hair is locking up. That means it's going through the necessary changes. This is great news. I know it's frustrating because you want to be able to do certain things, even just have your hair out of your face, and it may not look how you want it to, but that stage truly does not last long in the long run. Enjoy some of the styles while you can, because you might not be able to do it for months. Some people don't really struggle that much with a whole lot of shrinkage because they already started when their hair was extremely long. But just understand that no matter what length of hair you start your locks with, it is going to shrink up. Your hair has to fully lock up, which means little to no elasticity. So even now when my hair is wet, you guys see how my hair comes down to about like here? When my hair is wet, it really doesn't go that far down anymore. Like, it doesn't stretch like it used to because my hair is fully locked now. But trust me, once your hair is fully locked, now what comes next is the length, and what comes after that is the styling and doing whatever you want to do with your hair. Of course, there are so many more unrealistic expectations that people have with locks, and maybe I'll make another video if I think of more, if people come in with more interesting things to say about locks, but we will see. Drop any expectations, unrealistic ones, down below in the comments, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm kind of already thinking of some more as I'm ending this video, but like I said, we can save that for a different day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all next time. Bye guys.